Hi folks, it's Adrian's Dunchik, CMT Charter Market Technician. Welcome to today's Friday webinar. It's going to be a brief one. I'm going to show you and walk you through a couple of charts because it's been a while. And we're closing January as of today, closing it in a green. All right, and February seems to be lining up even better. So there are a lot of good odds ahead, and I'm going to walk you through it right in a second. So let's take a look at a daily Bitcoin chart of what's happening, right? So if we are basically to take a look at a plain chart, all right, and remove the drawings, remove everything. Now what we're looking at is consolidation. This is a sign of consolidation, and this consolidation basically tells us that, well, first of all, we are consolidating in a rising 200-day moving average environment on a simple moving average basis and on a 200-day B-Pro line basis, right? What it tells us, it is also a reconsolidation after, or I should say a consolidation after a period of a long-term correction that was of 260 days, if I'm not mistaken, that let us shut up basically, that led us ultimately and shut up until or as high as $110,000, almost approximately 109.5 with the local peak. But all things concerned, we're looking at the rising environment, both on the long-term trends, SMA and 200-day B-Pro trend. And this consolidation in a rising trend tells me that the trend is upwards. If the trend is upwards, each consolidation should resolve to the upside more likely than it would to the downside, right? So, of course, even though we cannot really predict the future with 100% certainty at any time, because that is impossible. It's impossible to keep guessing the future all the time. If you were to roll the dice, I'd say we were going to resolve to the upside, right? So if we are to detect like some key regions, key levels, of course, that's going to be 90K, which is the floor of the recent corrections. Well, 90, 91, if you will, there's been a little bit of the demand consolidating and aggregated there. And for the local supply, for the local sell, kind of like over cluster, we were looking at 108, 109, or $10,000, right? We fear those round numbers, that we think of them as if something special, something magical, that they have some special magical feature or power, which is of course BS. It's impossible. It's not real. It's only in our minds that we fear of those round numbers, and because we fear, because of the thought priming effect, how we know it in trading psychology, is basically what we materialize. And we materialize our fears by placing the sold orders in order to take profit because of a regret bias, because of us regretting not having taken profits before the crash happens. All right, so all things concerned, we're looking at a consolidation in a rising trend. And this consolidation, if I were to roll the dice, if I were to throw my odds, here at the table, I'd say it's going to resolve to the upside. And since this entire I should say, range of interest is equal to $20,000 approximately, this is going to be, by the very simple terms and definition, added on top of the breakout level, which should technically put us for the breakout target at around $130,000. And guess what? That's a decent number. That's quite a decent number. And, well, I wouldn't mind it at all, would you? All right, so if we are to kind of like show a little bit of a different side, all the bulls have commenced. All the bullish action is there. All the bullish trend setup is there on a midterm basis, on a mid time frame basis, I should say, mid daily basis, and a daily basis for the high time frame trailer, with the key critical stops at 97.484 and 100.2, right? So if we condensate both, it tells you that the support layer that you should actually be concerned about is the one exact size, right? So if we are, maybe let's make it a little bit smaller. All right, so the entire area between 102, 100.2, 100.3, if we are to round it up, and 97.5. Okay, this is what gives us the potential prospect of support. So anything that is happening, locally, that may kind of like make us revisit, this is where we would expect, based on the volatility, the local kind of like a return reversal to the upside. Okay, so of course we have those trend lines, the locally has been broken, like right there. I wouldn't tie up too much to it, right? Simply because it's a short or medium term consolidation, because it's been lasting already for, goddammit, for 2 months, I'd say, right? If we are to we're consolidating for 80 days. All right, that's quite a lot. For 80 days, that definitely anything between 3 weeks and 3 months is medium term. So we're definitely medium term correcting there to consolidation. And there are some upward bullish signs, breakout to the upside at any time over any diagonal, or even better, horizontal is decent bull sign. But more importantly, trends are up. Consolidation in an upward trend tends to resolve to the upside. The support, or I should say, is defined by the volatility from both daily high time frame trailer and the medium term 12-hour trailer, CTF trailer, giving us support at 97.5 up the way up to 100.3. And we're there, kind of like crawling and condensating and really making ourselves comfortable in the upper side of the region, right? On the upper side of the trading range. And even if we are taking a look at the local, I should say, closer short-term basis, we're looking at a lot of noise, of course, that has been present, with the recent push towards the new all-time highs at $110,000 approximately, with a local pullback, with the local pullback. And this 110K approximately was the day before the inauguration of Donald Trump, right? Then later, of course, it sucked in a lot of money, or I should say sucked out a lot of money and a lot of air out of Bitcoin and out of all the markets because of Trump and Melania coins. That was where the attention was. And where the attention goes, this is where the money flows. Quote me. So yeah, local support $107,000 all the way to 108.5. All right. What it tells me is that this is the upper region, right? So 107.5 and 108.5 or so, or 107, I should say, right? So 107 all the way to 108.5. This is where the market is considered short-term oversold. This is where I wouldn't necessarily buy anything per se, right? I would take it as a danger zone. And here, proportionally, it's going to be the support zone for any short-term fluctuations, right? Defined by 99, or actually a proximity of that is going to be $100,000 all the way to 101 and 3. So those are the two kind of like, this is the base, local base, this is the local supply. So I would expect that Bitcoin, if it's continued to move quote unquote rationally or randomly, or kind of like follow similar path without any magnificent breakout to the upside or to the downside, which is also possible, I'd argue, there is a very high chance that you're going to expect Bitcoin to trade mostly within 101 and 3 and $108,000, approximately 107. All right. So this is the area of exactly how much? $6,000, right? That if Bitcoin again is supposed to give us a massive push in either direction, this is supposed to be like a $6,000 move in one direction. If it's $6,000, taken from here, then 6K taken basically from that kind of like a region is going to put you anywhere between approximately 95K, and of course added on top of on top of the upper boundary, it's going to take you all the way to $115,000. Arguably, those are big numbers. I would say we should have not been giving up on Ethereum so easily, right? People are expecting too much bearishness, and even though, of course, that's a little bit of a play. I have no idea if Ethereum is gonna hit $20,000. I think that would be amazing. I'm not exposed to Ethereum currently as of too much, right? Simply because it has been underperforming Bitcoin heavily, right? It has been underperforming Bitcoin heavily, and because of that, in the name of the momentum principle of investing, you want to put more money into something that works and less money into something that doesn't work. So I wouldn't definitely just place aggressive bets on it. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum actually just pulls through this uppercase, of $6,000-$7,000, and there's actually a couple of reasons for it. Let me actually bring up the tweet that I did the other day for Ethereum, where Ethereum. Oh, there you go. Cool, I got you. All right, so where are we? I'm talking about this one. All right, I'm talking about this one where the great comeback might be here, and the upper range by the MV pricing bands, on the top is basically around 6,700, and this 6,700 may also not be the peak per se. It's just telling us that there is some decent overextension locally, right? So overall, I think that's common. Overall, I think too many traders have crossed Ethereum completely out of their scope of interest, and I think that's a mistake. I think Ethereum is likely going to show its full glory, full light. There's a light at the end of a tunnel. It's been one of the most hated coins, and of course, there's been a lot of kind of like speculation about what was going on with Vitalik and that the Ethereum Foundation changes and stuff like that. A lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and all that translates to people giving up on it, and that also is somewhat understandable because it has underperformed strictly, right? And long-term Bitcoin basis, if we are to take to the long-term Bitcoin basis, I'd say we should definitely not cross out this out of the table either. That based on the MVRV, all right, let me bring up this chart based on the MVRV. And shout out to Bitcoin Magazine Pro. I'm using their service actually. I highly recommend it. The current setup as of January, hold on, let me reload it. The current MVRV as of January 30th, all right, is 292. That means that by the simple estimations, we're going to land probably close to $250,000, because if we take the past where the red line kind of like happens, here, I would say 7 divided by, simple arithmetics, 9.2 92, that gives us 2.4 approximately times the current pricing of 104.8. That's giving us, how much is that giving us? That is pretty much giving us $251,000 approximately, right? So even the simplest arithmetic, so if we are to land at the warning zone, not even the peak zone, right, but in the warning zone, this is what's literally going to give us a trigger at around $250,000, which I think is possible, right? I think so many people are expecting, that Bitcoin would never break like $150,000. So many people just expected. It reminds me, Jesus Christ, it reminds me so much of what was happening in 2021. Even myself expected, that when Bitcoin reached $30,000, it actually gave us 50% profit over the previous all-time high of $20,000. We were expecting that, okay, like this is overextended and it's gonna crash any soon. Well, sort of then it rallied in January towards 45K, if I'm not mistaken. Then it dumped towards 27. So it was like a massive crash. 2021, if you recall, January, it wasn't too generous back then. It still pulled off a massive, 3x, more than 3x, on top of the previous all-time highs. And the previous all-time highs were almost $70,000, So I think that $250,000 is possible. I think it's on the table. I don't think it's too overstretched at all, right? It's literally that we are supposed to and expecting to kind of like push through the craziest part of the cycle yet. And well, the numbers taken as the Bitcoin seasonality, you're looking at February that returns 13.62% against January, which is almost 3 times less, right? 25%. Of course, there's no match for November, averaging almost 44% return on average, right? But if we are to go a little bit more, accurate, specific, then I use Seasonality for it, right? And from February 1st until, let me just upload it again. From February 1st all the way until March 1st, we're looking at 568.55% annualized return. All right. So if we were to kind of like stretch and annualize the entire monthly return and geometrically expand it so that it repeats every month, then we will add almost 570% return with an average return over the last 15 years from July 2010 all the way closer to 16%, especially skewed by massive growth and rallies over 50-60%. in 2011, 2013. 21 in February was 50% push. All right, 24 was close to 50% push. I think we were looking at very, very strong odds, right? The maximum drop in the right bottom column, was actually presented at, let's see, 35%. I think it's a 35% in 2014, which was actually the bear market. 2012, all right, is there as well. 2012, 2014, and 2018 also a bear market, right? So if we are to literally expect something in the next weeks in February, I'd say the expectations are very positive. You have, out of 14 total months, right, years, you have 10 winners and 4 losers. That gives you an average of basically 71% winning trade. 71%, more than 71%. 7 out of 10 times it was actually bullish, right? Well, speak what you want. I think the numbers are bullish, regardless what I would think about that. All right, so if we are to go to Glassnode right over here, cycle performance, let's say monthly performance, Ethereum from halving from, okay, let's do it from halving. Oh, this is Ethereum. I don't want Ethereum. I want Bitcoin. Performance halving. Performance since halving for Bitcoin. Then what are we looking at? Okay, this is the current kind of like a scope of interest. We are where the black line is, right? Which is exactly here at the bottom. It's of course scaled differently towards the right hand side of a scale. So instead of looking at it, number wise, numeric, just check on it quantitative, or I should say qualitatively. So what are you looking at? This from historically, each and every single cycle, that we're looking at the current point in time. We were looking at growth. We're looking at new all-time highs. We were looking at push for quite some time, for at least 2 or 3 months, ahead, which lines up with the strong seasonal tendencies of the market at all. If we are to take a look at the since cycle low, Bitcoin performance cycle low, that gives us a little bit of a cleaner view as well for what's ahead, just maybe, right? Because this is literally, again, like decent growth opportunity, right? The cycle is stretching. It's a little bit more, maybe less volatile per se, right? But it's still giving us decent earning opportunity. So all in all, I think there's so much more upside. I think there's literally so much more upside. And then for Solana, this is crazy, right? Because Solana is $240, $237 right now after hitting almost $300. Jesus. Lately, pushing this new all-time high, it kind of like hit back just a little bit. If we are to be like extremely, well, let's call it, what do you call that? Like a just playful, or not playful. That's not the word. Tricky, bearish, conservative, doesn't matter what you meant. What do you mean, right? We could perhaps say that, okay, there's just been an overthrow on a long-term basis, and we closed below. We broke the all-time high and we closed below. Actually, we closed also a little bit higher, so we made a new all-time high closing per se, the weekly close, but it of course just reduced significantly. We are literally right now about 10-15% or 18% reduced from the peak, right? But guess what, the trends are rising, right? The trend is in the uplifting curve on mode, 200-day moving average, which is a good thing because it tells us that the trend is upwards. The bull market resumes. All right, the new all-time high on a weekly closing basis, new all-time high on the price basis as well, closer to $300. I'd say there's a lot of reason to be bullish about Solana coming months. All right, and quick check about SUI as well, as it stepped into this local kind of like a bearish corrective tendency. It's kind of like just gave us a little bit of a reduction towards 3.5, which seems to be a magnet and already immediately bounced like 15-20%. Massive. All right, this is a daily candle, daily bounce candle from 3.6 all the way to 4.1 or 2. That's a massive push. 200-day rising, 200-day B Pro trend rising, local correction, mainly coming from the fact of losing the floor of 4.3, 4.26 or so. But all in all, I'd say it's just a matter of time, right? So if I were to go crazy on it, I would wait for the breakout signal over 4.87. But if I were to apply my personal kind of like a 12-hour strategy, then the proximity of the key resistance is bigger, right? At 4.3. So let's say if I see a close above 4.3, I'm actually gonna set the alarm. Maybe I'm gonna get myself in a position, right? 4 point. Now let me get this over 4 point. Let's set it this way. Close above, right? That's gonna trigger the early sign of the end of a correction to the bear stance and potential upside continuation. All right, and needless to say, there's a lot of reason to be bullish about it. All right. So yeah, I think there's a lot of cool reasons, to expect some bullish moves, and I'll leave you with that. The next couple of months are going to be wild. The next couple of months are going to be no sleep season. Everybody's going to talk about crypto. Donald Trump buying crypto, central banks buying crypto, people knocking on the door, let me in, just shouting, asking you for basically giving them tips and what to buy, what to sell, when to buy, when to sell, and stuff like that. Cycles tend to look similar in similar phases of the cycle, right? So you can expect similar things that what you were expecting at that time of the year, 2021, 2017, 2013. It's going to be wild. So stick with me. And before I go, there's this one final thing, right? Because if you guys are familiar, some time ago I launched the hyper giveaways, and the hyper giveaways are this new thing that everybody can participate basically on my Twitter profile, right? It's a subscription feature that costs $1. It's the lowest possible, kind of like that you could have set. And long story short, you get a bonus content for it, right? And at the same time, for the lowest possible cost, anybody can participate, because very often some of my followers who are really from from lower countries, from countries that are underprivileged, from countries that are often poorer, in the common sense of that meaning, in the countries that are developing, many people struggle to find capital to get started with trading. And one person every single month, all the money earned on the subscription, 100% transparently, with proof, with records, with an actual evidence, are going to one subscriber every month. All the money that is accumulated basically in the subscription on my profile on CryptoBirb, right there, right? One person wins, and one person wins. And I'm gonna log into mine and show you, right? A little bit of a glimpse. There is some, there were some kind of like updates about me meeting the Polish president and stuff, or Antonis Scaramucci and Binance people. But here's the actual confirmation, right? The Sage trader actually made money on it. He received $253. That was the money accumulated in December, and there's even more in January. So try your luck. Go ahead, click the subscribe button for $1. Participate via X subscriptions, and 100% of the money is going to go to one lucky subscriber. On top of that, you're going to get bonus access, right? So go for it. Go to XCOM and CryptoBirb, crypto_BIRB. That's my name. I've been your host, Adrian Zdunczyk, CMT Charter Market Ignition, and I'll see you on the next videos. God bless. Bye-bye.